Hi all, this is Rohit Venkatachalam. Welcome to this demo of Susangatam.ai. This demo is part of the Coursera Specialization AI Product Management. This is the final installment. Uh, this is the final installment. In the previous assignment of building, managing machine learning applications, I demonstrated how we could use CRISP-TM to build an AI-powered matrimony app. As part of this assignment, I'm going to walk through about what are the ethical and data considerations, data privacy considerations when it comes to building using AI for a matrimony app. Uh, the task is pretty simple. To find a suitable matches in a diverse and culturally rich Indian context. For an app, it's quite simple, but in reality, the process is quite complicated. So, as part of the app, the users would create a profile. They would based on the profile that they created, the app would basically filter the profiles, match it for the user on what the user entered. The users could view the profiles and initiate contacts. Now, generally, the typical pain points of typical apps are uh, so there are essentially a lot of matches which are shown, but very few are really uh, would translate into a contact because even though on the superficial level the apps do match, but when diving deep, there's no the profiles don't really match. So essentially, to match, we need to simplify the uh, the process of creating the profiles and the filters. So the user has to be educated, and also the user insight has to be gained to essentially understand what the user is looking for. Having this in-depth analysis of the profile would help basically match it, and not just on very superficial basis. Uh, since there's a lot of personalization required, uh, the model should also be basically transparent about what is the kind of question being asked and essentially for what purpose the questions are being asked. As part of the user experience design, we need to have an assisted input profile creation. Uh, uh, it should also assess the user about how to create the search filters and coach the users through that. Uh, and essentially, the app should also basically help users like what exactly are the necessary must-have criteria as part of the search. What could be deal breakers? So those are the kinds of insights which the app should essentially coach the users uh, about. The app should also essentially, because the app is also acting as a coach, it should communicate when the model is uncertain about the matches, or so why is it uncertain, and should help the users in broadening the search if it doesn't find enough search, or essentially as gain more insights about what the user is looking for. The privacy considerations are the data collection because there's a lot of PII data involved in this case. Um, so the data collection process has to be transparent and has to be secure. Uh, Essentially, the Indian diaspora is spread across the planet. So some of the laws of like the GDPR or the California Consumer Privacy Act, and even the coming Indian data protection bill, all of these would be applicable because the application is going to be used by the Indian diaspora across the planet. And the app has an application to understand what kind of data the user wants it to use and what it cannot, and make sure that necessary security measures are put in place so that only the data for which the user has consented for is and for the purpose the user has consented for is being used. Uh, the model should also be transparent about how the data has been used. And ethical considerations are typically there is a lot of scope for bias in this kinds of application, cultural bias, algorithmic bias, and also ethical goals is essentially to make sure there is fairness and doesn't try to Uh, it makes sure that it cannot be manipulated. Uh, so there are users who could understand the model and could also try to misuse the model. So make sure that the model is fair and it's not easily corruptible by the user. Um, so that essentially accounts to that essentially also means that the model has to be the application has to be accountable and transparent. Um, Thanks for your time. That's it for the session.